What's poppin', everybody? How you guys doing? My name is Manny, and this is the Kick Game. And today, bringing y'all another video. Alright? Now, this is gonna be the first time I'm doing this, and I really like this idea of reacting to, MMA videos. Just want to give you guys as much content as possible. And what a better place to start than now? So today we're going to be reacting to Status versus Reality, Michael Chandler. It's uploaded by MindSmash. Alright? It's an MMA channel, or mixed martial arts in general, boxing, all that shit. It just gives you a different perspective on the fight game. It brings a more, or MindSmash brings a more spiritual aspect into it, because you gotta have a certain mindset to really be involved in this sport. And I really fuck with his channel. So the link to the video will be in the description if you guys want to send love and all that shit. So without further ado, let's get it.
I feel like at this point, everything's a win-win situation. I wasn't supposed to be here, you know? It is much harder to step into hand-to-hand combat with a person that you were supposed to beat than it is to step inside the octagon, the cage, with a person that is supposed to beat you. Listen, when you're an underdog, you got nothing to lose. Over the last 12 years, stepping into hand-to-hand combat with people that I'm supposed to finish in the first round, and I'm supposed to finish them in the first round, and finishing them not in a dominant fashion or not looking phenomenal is falling short, and people start to wonder if you lost a step. Those are tough.
Yellow.
That's a fact. That's a real fact. You could be so dominant. It's just like with John Jones. He was dominant for years, and all of a sudden he has 2 split decision wins, and now people are wondering if he's dominant or not, if he's the same person. It's the same shit.
Oh, that's really intriguing to hear. Why would a higher ranked fighter who's expected to beat someone lower ranked feel more pressure and have a harder time than someone who's an underdog? After all, Michael Chandler has been in both of these positions. Why could this be? It's because regardless of what we humans do in our attempt to allocate status, reality, it just rarely ever cares. Reality literally does not care. Mother Nature simply does not care for the game we human beings play. We saw this in the Matt Serra vs. George St. Pierre 1 fight.
To use the right strategy and the right tactic against him, otherwise
the fight could be over.
A better rounded fighter can lose to another man on a given night for any number of reasons. In George St. Pierre's case, he underestimated the striking, assuming the most dangerous threat was jiu-jitsu. You can't underestimate anyone who's made it to a high level. After all,
You really can't underestimate nobody. Nobody. Matt Serra wasn't supposed to beat GSP. Come on now.
enemy of the best is the good. Thus, when a higher level fighter makes a miscalculation, it just does not matter. Reality does not care for status. That is just a game we human beings play in order to make the thinking process more convenient. We do it to save time, we do it to save mental bandwidth, because thinking on first principles for every person, everything, it's just exhausting. We wouldn't get anything else done if we took a first principles approach to every facet of life. That's why assumptions predicated on status are valuable, of course. When you don't have the time to think about the problem, and say you really need a doctor, for example, from there you're not going to take a first principles approach for the best option. You're just gonna go to the hospital trusting the status this man or woman has is earned tangibly, thus can help you solve the problem you're dealing with. But again, based upon the assumption on status alone, it can impact, say, even the quality of treatment you get, as again, at the end of the day, even if we humans care for status and its ability to save us mental bandwidth, save us time, Mother Nature at the end, she simply does not care. Even in this context, perhaps with a bit of research, you could have narrowed down a better option for your specific problem. Of course, even then, ultimately, you don't really know until you try. You can just, over time, pull the odds to your favor. That said, this arena is a looking glass at the indifferent disposition possessed by Mother Nature. She does not care for your game. Thus, if you do not respect the man in front of you, if you buy into the noise and assume you should win on status alone, if you force an outcome that is not congruent.
It's exactly what happened to McNugget. Conor McGregor overestimated or underestimated Dustin, And that shit cost him greatly. Same shit, man.
Congruent with reality, that can lead to errors, and that one miscalculation can demand its cost in consciousness. That's why Michael Chandler's implications of expectation and assumptions formed upon status make it harder to fight. First of all, you're expected to meet a quota versus a lower ranked fighter, and sometimes those expectations can have you do things that you shouldn't have done versus that opponent. You're fighting an image, a perception, instead of the person in front of you. That said, you can rarely ever predict an outcome perfectly, and it's even harder to do just that when you're assuming the outcome based upon a compare and contrast narrative like status. Instead, to look at what is and what you can do with what is, to prepare for what is, and to just try your best to work and prepare for the variables that you were given. That's what you see from a fighter like Jon Jones.
I study everybody extensively, and then I come up with their patterns. I figure out the way they flinch. I figure out their first favorite punch, their second favorite punch, their third, their favorite combinations, their setups to their takedowns, when they clinch, what side their head's going to be in. Literally everything. What am I going to do about that, you know? I figure out everything, why they shoot, what area of the cage they like to shoot, everything.
That's a first principles narrative, looking at what is from the lowest common denominator up. You never know what is going to happen. You never know. All you can do is your best to prepare. That is all. This is also why Chandler's sentiments of being the underdog make perfect sense to him as well. When you're told you're supposed to lose, if you don't let those words get to you mentally and you use them to fuel you instead, you reverse the narrative. From there, there's a great freedom in that. As we've learned from Diogenes, the less you have, the more you are free. If you're free from all others' expectations, if you're freed from having others project an image onto you, better yet, if you use all of that to motivate you, from there, you're freed from the pressure of how things should be. Thus, from there, you can just look at what is, more tangibly. You are not given incentive to force an outcome. Instead, as Michael Chandler had signified, he could just prepare specifically for the variables involved instead of the assumptions. Having all of this understood, Michael Chandler actually predicted the fight to end much later, but he has the wrestler's overhand even with his lead hook, programming to the body, feeling a sense of urgency as he ate calf kicks. After all, he did find himself in trouble because of them in the past. From there, Michael Chandler, he took a risk formed of his programming to the body. He slipped the other way, then cracked Dan when his hand was down. Dan the
I truly think that Dan Hooker was a little too trigger shy because of what happened in Dustin Poirier's fight when he fought Dustin. Because if you listen to his build up to the fight when he's like interviewing and shit, he was saying how he saw too many openings in his game rewatching that fight, and I think that got into his head mentally that I don't want to open myself up when I'm striking to get countered, and instead of fighting his fight, he fought Chandler's fight and got put on his ass. It's unfortunate for him, man. I really fuck with Dan.
Hangman Hooker was likely looking to time a counter against the cross to the body. You can feel the surprise come from Dan Hooker as Michael Chandler's head isn't where it's supposed to be. Just look at that. The backhand down, timing a head position that isn't there, while simultaneously a lead hook comes flying at his face. Boom. It's one of those instances where, if you follow the sport, you are a fan of Dan Hooker. You likely did not expect this nor wanted this to happen, but again, Mother Nature does not care for status.
Fight game, man.
She only cares for what is. With the countless times Dan has warred on the grand stage versus the looping left hook he was not prepared for, that one miscalculation, it just told a different story. It just told a different truth. This is a lesson to us all. We never truly know what can happen. We've all been wrong countless times. It's just part of being human.
I was wrong twice on my
The
predictions.
best each of us can do is prepare for the moment, all the while having faith, confidence that our preparation was enough. That is just it. And when you understand, you realize that this is an understanding true regardless of arena. This is why so many greats skip the line of how things should be. That's just it. Mother Nature does not care, and no one has all the answers. All we human beings can do is prepare, having faith that the work will refine the edge of outcome to our own side. That's what we human beings do. We bend the odds to our favor. And this is true, not just in the arena, but life in its entirety. That's just life. But truly, there's also a freedom in knowing that, because you begin to realize, so as long as you are true to the path, from there, you are worthy of your faith. You are worthy of your confidence, because at the end of the day, that's the one thing no one can ever take from you. No one can ever take the genuine heart you've invested this whole time. Eternally, it is yours. Till the end. Thank you, Michael Chandler, for this lesson. Thank you to all of you for watching, and until next time, peace.
Yeah, man. Michael Chandler just showed out. It took everybody by surprise. I hope Dan Hooker could keep his head up, man. He's a really good fighter. He could get back in the top 5 for sure, or get back in that conversation. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Once again, the link is in the description below if you want to check out MindSmash's channel. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you on the next video. Later.